Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from AlexMercedCoder.dev. And in this video, I want to say maybe several months ago, I made a video where I made a basic text-based game in Python called PoolCleaner. Okay, I'm gonna try to make a similar game in JavaScript. We're gonna use a browser, and we're just gonna use basic like prompts and alerts, so no real visual element, but just to kind of show you like how you would do the same thing. Okay, so first let's just set up. So I'm gonna set up an index.html because we need a way to run this code in the browser. So I'm going to set up my boilerplate. Okay, and then I'm going to need a JavaScript file so I can run my JavaScript. So we'll just say app.js. And then I just need to connect this file. So script, the source tag, and then /app.js. And then we just need to open this file in live server. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so this file is now running. Okay, so the basic idea is this. Let's actually just kind of sketch out the parameters of the game. Okay, bottom line is you clean pools. Okay, in the beginning, you start with a small net. Okay, you start with a small net, which makes $5 a week. Okay, so every time you clean pools, you make $5. Okay, now for $50, you can upgrade to a big net, which makes, we'll say $10 a week. Okay, and we're going to say that you win when you have the big net and we'll say $100. Okay, so when those two things are true. So those are the parameters of my game. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So player basically can, will design the game. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to generally make functions for the different things that can be done. So I want to think about what are the different stories, what are the different things that happen. Okay, so for example, I know that there's going to be multiple tools. Okay, so instead of trying to create a function for each tool, because they're all going to generally work the same way, what I should do is make an array of tools. So that way I can always refer to the right tool in the array to control what function it is. So for example, so we'll say const tools. It's going to equal an array. And we've mentioned that there's two tools in our game. Okay, one that has a name of smallNet, which has a price of $5, that makes $5 a week. So let's just say 5. Okay, we'll say, money generated, or we'll say generates $5, and the price is 0 because you'll start with it. Okay, then we also have a big net, which generates $5. That has a price, well, actually that generates $10 and has a price of $50. Okay, cool. Okay, so now I have my array of tools. So again, by thinking of each thing as an object, and since I have a list of objects that's an array, I now have this array of tools that I can use relatively. Okay, but how do I know which tool the user is using? Okay, so we generally need to have like stats. So const player stats. So we'll just say player to keep it simple. Okay, so here we're going to keep track of two things. The two things we need to know about the players: how much money do they have? And they're going to start with 0. And which tool are they using? And what we really care about is the index from the array. So are they using tool 0 or are they using tool 1? Okay, so we're going to say they're using tool 0. Okay, so you start with the small net and you start with no money. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so now I kind of set up like the basic stats and information of the game. So again, right now I haven't really written any kind of functionality. I'm just writing down the information I know I'm going to need for this game. Okay. And now I can think about just kind of small pieces. Like, for example, what happens if I clean a pool? Okay. So instead of thinking, okay, hey, how do I use a small net? How do I use a big net? I'm going to think about it as cleaning a pool. So clean pool. And what should happen whenever I clean a pool? Okay, I should, one, alert the user saying that you cleaned the pool. So you cleaned a pool. Actually, I should do this with backticks. You cleaned a pool with, and then I can use interpolation to say, hey, player, you cleaned the pool with, so it would be tools. Well, that's going to be a lot of typing, but I'll show you what I'll do. So the idea is I have to figure out, hey, which tool am I using? Well, I'm using the tool that based on the player stats. So technically, the index of the tool I'm using is player.tool. Okay, and now you can see like that's a lot to type. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out here. And I'm going to just create a variable just to save myself some typing. So const tool equals, get that out of the way. So player tool, so the tool they're using, and again, this is, so basically player.tool should equal 0, pass to the square brackets for the tools array, so that's going to end up equaling this object. Okay, so you clean the pool with tool, and that's the object, so tool.name. Okay, because see, this is going to end up equaling this. Because tool is 0, player.tool is 0, so it's the same thing as me saying tools 0, which is going to be the first thing. And then later on, when they upgrade, we'll upgrade tool to 1, so it'll refer to the next thing in the array. So the idea is do everything a relative. You end up writing a lot less code that way. Okay, player.tool, and then again, I save it in a variable, so I don't have to type all that out all the time. So I can just write tool.name. Okay, and make tool.generates. Oh, because that's the amount of money they made. And then we're at dollars. Okay. And then that's how much money should also be added to the player's money. So I might as well, when they clean the pool, we can just say player.money plus equals tool.generates, because that's how much money they made. Perfect. Cool. Wonderful. Okay, so we now know, okay, when you clean a pool, that's what's going to happen. Now I'm also going to want to say, sometimes they're going to want to upgrade. Okay, so we're going to say function upgrade. Okay, so I'm going to create a function. We're going to say, what I'm going to do is I want to get the next tool, because what we care about is the next tool. Okay, equals, and it should equal tools. It's literally the same thing as here. The only difference is that it should be the next tool, so it's going to be whatever the player currently has plus 1. Okay, so technically right now, the player, in the beginning of the game, the player has 0. They have tool 0. So 0 plus 1 would be 1. So technically that would be the big net. Okay, if I had like 20 tools, this would still work. Now there's a chance that once they upgrade to the big net, there is no next tool. So how do I handle that? Well, technically if I do players, I try to grab an index that's not in the array. Okay. Well. Technically that might throw an error. So what I want to do is check first. Okay. So first I want to make sure that there is a next tool. Okay, so I'm going to do an if statement to see if there is a next tool. Okay. So long as player.tool minus 1 plus 1 is less than tools.length, we're good. That means I haven't gotten to the last item in the array yet. Okay, as soon as it's like equal or greater than, technically we've used up all the items in the array. Okay. Because technically right now there's 2 items in the array, so there should only be 2 indexes, 0 and 1. So long as player.tool plus 1 is less than 2, we haven't gone past the array. Okay, so then all this will happen inside that. Okay, and then again, else. So basically, if that isn't the case, then we'll just alert there are no more tools to upgrade. Okay, good. Okay, so again, I'm just thinking of each thing that the user can do. The user can choose to clean a pool, so they're gonna make money. They can choose to upgrade, so then I gotta do all these checks. So I make a function for that. Okay. And then let's see here. After we're going to put that tool in an object, so that way we're going to save the next tool, the tool that they're going to upgrade to, in a variable, so that way it's less typing. Okay. And then we're going to check whether you have enough money. Okay. So is next tool dot price less than player dot money? Okay, there's a less than the money that the player has. Okay, because again, it's a player variable which has two properties, money and tool. So is the next tool's price less than the player's money? If it is true, then we can upgrade. If not, then else. We alert not enough money to upgrade. Okay, cool. And if that all checks out, so basically, hey, there is another tool to upgrade, you do have enough money to upgrade, then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we subtract the money from your current money. So money minus equals next tool dot price. And then we're going to say player dot tool plus equals 1, because you're just getting the next tool. So we're just going to up that number from, in this case, 0 to 1. So that way the next time you clean pools, player dot tool is going to equal 1. So you're going to be using the big net now. Okay. Cool. And then there you basically have the tools. Now the last thing we need to really kind of have to do, okay, is we need to make sure that we know when we win. Okay. So I have a function that can handle upgrading. I have a function that can handle the daily cleaning pool. Okay. And the last function I need is win conditions. Okay, I need to know when the player has won the game. Okay, so I'm going to add another variable to the player. We're going to say won game, and at the beginning it's going to be false. So basically that's going to be false. Yeah. Okay. One game is false. Okay, so now what's going to happen is that when you rerun win conditions, it's going to check, hey, if, okay, player dot tool equals tools dot length minus 1. And the reason I do it that way is because that way, what if I add more tools? The idea is that they should have the last tool. So this way, if I add more tools, the game is automatically going to work, because it's always going to be based on, hey, does the player have the last tool? Okay, because it's the array's length minus 1 is always the last tool. Okay, and again, that should be 3 equal signs, not 1. So that would have been a mistake. Okay, and is the player dot money equal 100? Or actually greater than or equal than? Because if I did just equal then it has to be exactly 100. So if it was 101, you still wouldn't win. That would not work. So greater than or equal than 100. Okay. And if those two things are true, you've won the game. So we alert, you have won the game. And then we're going to change that variable, one game, to false, to true. Okay, one game, player dot one game is going to equal true. Okay, and that's it. That's all that function is going to do. Okay, so we have these 3 functions, but they're not a game yet. Okay, games are generally loops. A game is just something that happens over and over again. Basically, it's a loop for user input. Okay, literally when you're pushing a button in a game controller, you're just passing it input. It responds to that input and then loops and asks for input again. That's essentially all it is. So literally, it's just an infinite loop. So what we're going to do, or it's just a loop. And this loop is going to keep going, okay, until player dot one game. So long as, so basically what I want to do is I want to negate that, because player dot one game is false. The loop only happens if this evaluates to true. So when I do the not symbol, that negates it. So essentially, like if one game is false, not false would be true. Okay, so essentially this was going to evaluate to true until one game is true. Okay, and then so essentially it just makes it treats it as the opposite. Okay. Cool. You know, another way, let's leave it at that. One game, okay? So now every time the loop happens, we're going to prompt the player, prompt, you know, it's another week. And actually, first we'll do this. We'll have an alert before the loop, just to kind of tell people what the game is. Welcome to Pool Cleaner. Okay, so that's going to happen because we don't want that in the loop, because we don't want that happening on every loop. Just, you know, a quick introduction to the game. Then in the loop, on each loop, we want to do a prompt. You currently have player.money dollars. Do you want to clean pools, or actually I want to make that a you upgrade. Okay, if you ever play like old text-based games, it'd be really annoying to have to type the whole word upgrade or the whole word clean. So usually what you would do is you would just put in the first letter. Okay, and they use these square brackets that kind of tell you like, hey, what you need to type is just the first letter. Okay, and I need to save the result of that prompt in a variable. So we're going to say, hey, const response. Okay, the user's response from that situation. Okay, and then we're just going to say, hey, if, you know, if response equals C, they clean pools, then we'll do the clean pool function. Done. Okay. If response equals U, then we're going to upgrade. We will run the upgrade function. If the response is neither of those two, so equal does not equal U, or response, or actually it's and response does not equal C, so basically if it's neither of those things, then we're going to say alert, though that's not a valid option. Type C or U. I'll put quotation marks around them just to make it obvious what we're saying. And then at the end of each loop, we want to check, hey, did we win? So I'm going to run the win conditions function. Okay, so essentially what's going to happen is that the game's going to start out. So now let's open this up in the page. Okay, that's like all like frozen just because I've been doing this for so long. So let me actually close this up. Okay, let's open this up again. Open with live server. Welcome to Pool Cleaner. Let me just pull this out separately. There we go. That's not a valid option. Yep. Okay, so you currently have $0. You want to clean pool, so I'll type in C. Okay. You clean the pool with a small net and make $5. Okay. I have $5, so then I just keep cleaning the pool. Again, I'm going to keep doing this till I get to $50. Okay, cool. I have $50, so I should be able to upgrade. So I'm going to try to upgrade. Not enough money to upgrade. Okay, so that's something's wrong because I should have enough money to upgrade. So let's take a look at what happened, because technically I do have $50. So next tool dot price is less than, oh, because it's equal. So it should be less than or equal. That's where we went wrong. Okay, so I'm going to just clean pool one more time. Then it should work. Then I'll upgrade. Okay, now I've upgraded, but oh, it broke. Okay, so something went wrong there. Okay, so I'm going to open up my terminal or my console to see if there's any error. And yep, and there's an error. Money is not defined. So somewhere I used the, and then I did right here. See, it's not money, it's player.money. So that's where I made a mistake. Okay, so again, make sure you use your console because sometimes you have errors here that'll help you figure out what you're doing. Okay, cool. Now I try this again. C, 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 C. Okay, now I should be able to upgrade. Okay, I've upgraded. Works. Cool. Now I should be able to clean a pool, and I should be using a big net now. Yep, cool. See, I'm using a big net now with $10. Nice. Okay, and then if I try to upgrade, it should say, hey, there are no more tools to upgrade. Okay, and then I can be like, see, just do this until I get to 100. Okay, look, I won the game because I have $100 and I have the big net. Okay, and now if I wanted to add more tools, I wouldn't have to change anything because I made sure that everything is kind of relative to each other. Okay, instead of hard coding everything, I try to always think of things, set up things in a way that they could refer to each other relatively. I can just basically add as many tools as I want, and the game will automatically scale because the win condition is always based on whatever the last tool is because I'm getting relatively the last index. Okay, and again, this will constantly just add every time I upgrade it adds one to this tool property, and I'm using that to figure out, hey, which tool from this array. So technically, I can add like 100 tools, and this game will just keep playing. But essentially, like, that's how you could make a very simple browser-based game that's just text-based. Okay, but again, the idea here is like I thought before I started the game. Again, I thought through, hey, what are the game stats that I need to track? So first I sketched out the information I need to track. Then I created the functions, one for each thing the player can do. Okay, so you can think about it sort of like the different actions the player can take. And then we just created a loop, okay, that allows the user to choose which action to take. We call the appropriate function when that action is taken. And then, when the win conditions are met, that's going to change a value that causes the loop to stop running. And the game is done. And that's essentially how the game works. My name is Alex Merced from AlexMercedCoder.dev. Have a great day and enjoy.